Whimsy.
Whimsy?
Whimsy.
The names of your kids are, what are the names again?
It's Cecil, Wings, Petals, and Whimsy.
It's so cute. Okay, so, does anybody have a concept of grace? What is grace? What is another name for grace? Not my friend Grace.
It's a share in divine life.
Yes, a share in divine life. That's the definition. God gives his own life and friendship to us. He gave his own life already. His friendship. Okay. We call this gift grace. We do not earn or deserve God's grace. Grace allows us to become God's adopted children and to respond to his abundant love. There is a definition at the bottom. Where is that? Oh, we're going to get to the Bible passages here. It's free. It's unearned. It gives us life, freely given to God, by God. Okay. Starting from Moses' time, the grace that's described in Exodus, and that one we just read a few weeks ago, when Moses was told by God to draw water from the rock. You know, cast your staff on the rock and it will give water. Anytime that God helps, you know, any miracle, but for that matter, that would be grace, a blessing, a help. Okay, that would be grace. Now, there's different types of grace. But grace itself is a sharing, a participation. Now, didn't we say that God is love?
Mm-hmm.
So he created us because he cannot contain this love. He has to burst. So he creates, is so creative, all kinds of things. Okay. Now, was that enough? Did he stop there? Now, he created flowers, created the bees, the dolphins, everything else, the plants. Then, on the sixth day, who did he create? I have a whole night on the 6 days of creation and, you know, explanation on it. But let's touch on it a little bit right now. When he created man, we're called the masterpiece of his creation because he created us what? You've heard this a lot. He created us in his image and likeness. All of the things he created has his stamp, right? He created them. But we, humans, were created in his image and likeness. Now, there's many ways to explain this. He loves us so much that he didn't just create us. He gave us some of his attributes. What? He gave us some of what he has as God. Intellect. Right? What else? You have memory. Does the rose has a memory? Does, you know, the rock has memory? No. What else? Intelligence. We are rational beings. We can decide. We can think. We have memory. What else? We have free will. What else? He made us immortal. Cannot die. Like him. He can't die. Well, when he became man, right? But immortal souls that will not die will live forever. Okay, none of the other creations have that. When the leaf dies, it dies. When the tree dies, it dies. We'll talk about soul and animal soul and vegetative soul later. But we have an immortal soul. Will never die. All these properties, intelligence, memory, free will. He loves us so much that he gave us some of these things that he never gave to the other things that he created, other creatures. Okay. That is grace, a participation. Now, that's not it. He knows that we're gonna mess up. We're gonna be doing this and that. He gives us grace again to get up, to correct this, to help us out. It's just never ending grace. You cannot blink your eye without grace. You know, it's like you're in his hand, you're in the palm of his hand. If for an instant he took his hand off, you're annihilated, you're gone. That's it. None. Nothing, nada, nothing is remaining. Okay? If he for an instant stopped thinking of you, because this is our first birthday, is in the mind of God. That's our first birthday. We have 4. So that's our first birthday. He thought of us first in his mind. That's where we started, right there. Okay? And that's how unique you are. How many what is the world population now, and how many, divide that into how many men and women, and God chooses, one man and one woman out of the billions, and they get together, they come together, and they have an offspring, and that is you. The odds are 1 in, how many? Okay, there's 7, so 3.5 billion. 1 in that ratio is you, unique, unrepeatable. You're not an accident. If it happened, God permitted it, or God willed it. I mentioned last time he had a permitting will and an ordaining will. No matter what the circumstances, product of sin, rape, this baby was conceived, God allowed the baby to be conceived. He has a plan for this baby, a perfect plan. So you can't abort. That's killing, number 1. He has a plan. No matter what the circumstances around this, God has a plan. Now, did he allow that baby to be aborted? Because it was in the plan. Is this a mean God? No. That's another night, okay? Why does he allow suffering? But in the, in his plan, which we'll never see because he's so big, like we're the invisible speck. He's this big God, is so huge for us to comprehend. In his plan, he sees everything in the present. He has no past, no future. Everything is in the present. In his present, he already sees everything. Whereas we, who are trapped in space and time, we have to walk 1 billion years for an instant in his mind. He sees everything. We cannot see anything because we have to travel in space and time. 1 trillion years. To him, he already sees it. Okay? That's God. Okay? So, that God wants to give us a share in his life. Again, that's how much he loves us. That's how much he loves us. In John 1, we receive the superabundance of grace. Where? Through whom? Through Jesus Christ. And to those who come to him, Jesus promises living water. That's another grace. The water, what does water signify? Life. Without water, we won't live. Our bodies are what? 95% water. Water is so essential. That's why that's one of the analogies. Living water. Jesus is the living water. He's the way, the truth, and the life. Water is life. Okay? And then you go to the different gifts. So, God is not done. He gives us the grace to breathe. He gives us the grace to exist. He gives us the grace to, function. He gives us these gifts and talents. Any gift and talent here. You're good in cooking. You're my gift of gab. Your gift of gab. God gave you that, and he will perfect it. Okay, by his grace. If you're a mom, you get extra grace be the best mom that you could be. If you're an engineer, if you're a plumber, you get the graces to do that, your state in life. Your state in life. Are you married? Are you single? Marriage is a sacrament. You get the graces to be the best husband that you can be. You get the graces to be the best wife that you can be, the best student that you can be. Whatever it is that you're doing, you have help from God. You do. This is what I'm going to ask you to read because you have the gift of God. Okay? See, he's my victim tonight. Okay, and that's about grace, and it's in the Catechism, paragraph 2000. Look at 2000, let's say. Paragraph 2000. So if you have a catechism, look at the bold number that says 2000. This is an exercise in how to navigate your catechism. That's a definition of what we're talking about.
That's 484 page.
Just looking at the numbers and I'm getting so slow.
Page 40.
Okay,
Ready?
2000, ready? Will you please read 2000, Preston?
Sure. Sanctifying grace is a habitual gift, a stable and supernatural disposition that perfects the soul itself to enable it to live with God, to act by His love. Habitual grace, the permanent disposition to live and act in keeping with God's call, is distinguished from actual graces, which refer to God's interventions, whether at the beginning of conversion or in the course of the work of sanctification.
Okay, gave you the difference between sanctifying grace and actual grace. So actual grace, what we need, at every moment and all that. Sanctifying grace, the word sanctify means to be holy, to make holy. This sanctifying grace is the grace that we need to enter heaven. To enter heaven. The actual grace, okay, good plumber, you need those graces, but when you die, you're not a plumber anymore. When you die, you gotta have sanctifying grace. If not, if you die without, or you're outside of the graces, you die not in the state of grace, heaven is not gonna be waiting. Okay? So sanctifying grace, which we receive at baptism, one of the things that happen at baptism, out of the 24 things that I list, not just one thing or two or three things at baptism. That's why it's so important. Okay? So sanctifying grace is one of the things we receive at baptism. This is a grace that will help us to become holy, because nothing unholy can enter heaven. Can we lose this grace? Yes. I told you, big sin, mortal sin. Cutting off, complete cutting off from a life of grace. But the loving God has a way for you to come back in. If you broke away because of mortal means death dealing, sin, God in His mercy and love again has a way for you to get reconnected, to come back even after you've fallen away. Habitual grace, another name for sanctifying grace. Okay, so the 2001. Can you do that again, Preston?
Which one?
2001.
We were in 2001?
Yes.
The preparation of man for the reception of grace is already a work of grace. This latter is needed to arouse and sustain our collaboration in justification through faith and in sanctification through charity. God brings to completion in us what He has begun, since He who completes His work by cooperating with our will began by working so that we might will it.
Will it. You see, He's not ever done. Okay, so you are a doctor. So you're at the operating table, you're a surgeon. Okay? So, yeah, you went through all these years of medical school and all this training and all this, your hands are trained and all this, and you have to have your wits with you. You might have to make decisions right there. Yes, you have the gifts that God gave you, and you're a good doctor, a good surgeon. Where did all those gifts and talents come from? God. How did you cooperate? You went to school. You had training. You built. Grace builds on nature. So God gives you these talents and gifts that you're predisposed. As a child, you wanted to work. You wanted to heal people. You wanted to play doctor all the time. So God already gave you that desire and that inclination. So when you finally follow that path, God helps you each time you perform that duty. But did you heal that person? You helped, right? But who ultimately healed that person is God. Okay, you got to recognize that. it is God still. All right? We all need to recognize that. Now, he is never done. He will give you what you need, okay? And then what he started, which is what he gave you when he created you, right? And then at baptism gives you this more graces at baptism. Because he said, he instituted baptism. All right? So he gives you these graces. He's not done. He's going to keep helping you. Every second of your existence, every split second. I told you, an instant that he, removes his hand from you, you're done. You're gone. So he gives this unending, instant by instant outpouring of his grace to help you in everything. You cannot blink. You can't breathe. The great designer designed your body. Don't look to the stars or the moon or the sun. Just look at your body. Every cell in this body has its own system, right? Remember your classes in high school. Every cell, the unit of life, has its own intricate system. Who can design something like that? Who can design a machine that can fix itself when something is wrong? I mean, you're asleep and your system's still going. You're asleep. Who conceived that? Not of the brightest scientist that you could think of. It was God, intelligent designer. How come the planets and the stars are not spinning out of control and hitting each other and making each other bust? They're governed by the forces of nature. Somebody is the order of the universe. Who is this designer of this universe? Everything is working smoothly. Yeah, sometimes there's, by his permitting will, some of these things could go, but yet it's marvelous. We're not sinking into the core of the earth. We're not flying into space. We have just the right pressure, the right conditions to be standing right here. Right? And we're not busting out of our skin, you know what I'm saying? Everything is like right in place, in the right order, the right temperature. And then the miracle of life when it happens. Wow. Okay, can you just contemplate those things? And how can you not marvel at this God? How big and great he is, and yet he gives you a participation in his life. Imagine that. This is contemplation right here. This is meditation right here. Can you just think of that? You cannot sleep tonight without praising God and be awed at his power, and yet his simplicity and his humility to come as a baby and then to die for the invisible speck that is you and me. And then not done with us, because he keeps giving grace non-stop. Whatever you're doing, he has this grace. We will not be done studying grace, because everything that we do here, then you have special graces, the charisms, like my favorite example is Mother Teresa. I don't have her charism of going out to the poorest of the poor, the man lying on the street that's, worms coming out of his eyes and nose and ears, and she picks him up, brings him to the house and bathes him and cleanses him and feeds him, and then he's dying, so gives him a nice, dignified, loving death, so that he sees the sisters, loving him and taking care of him until his last breath. I don't have that charism. I can't pick up somebody like that. That's special charism. That's a special grace. And when we learn about the different orders in the church, all the things that they do, the teachers, the preachers, the scientists, the Mother Teresa, and all these, the missionaries, all these things that they do, that's a special charism. You have graces from your sacraments, like, a husband and wife, they have graces for that sacrament. Okay? For confirmation, we get all these graces that we receive at confirmation. The anointing of the sick. priests, the sacrament, being a priest. They're going to get all the graces they need to be the best priest that they can be, configured to Christ. They are Christ to us. So they have to have special graces to do that function. So whatever God gives you to do, your mission, He already equipped you with what you need to do what He wants you to do. By the way, you're the happiest when you're doing what He has ordained you to do. If you keep going away and going detour and saying no to Him, you are on self-destruct. You will never be content. You will be restless. You will be unhappy, unfulfilled. Once you find that vocation is call from God, vocare. You find that and you're doing that, you're in line with God's will, that is your happiest that you will ever be. Now, will God work with you if for some reason you didn't follow what He wants? Of course. Does He ever abandon you? No. Will He give you the graces to make you holy in spite of not doing what He wanted you to do first? He wanted you to be a priest, but instead you wanted to marry and have children. Will He give you graces to be the best dad and husband? Yes. Just because you didn't become a priest, doesn't mean He abandons you. He gives you probably more graces now. He probably gives you more graces because you need them. He will never abandon you. Okay, so actual grace is like that grace that helps you, flip the switch. Right? You still need grace to do that. So, He is just never done. He gives, look at this definition. Again, you can meditate on this line forever. God gives His own life and friendship to us. What's a friend? Okay, you have a spouse, you may not tell her everything, but you can tell your friend everything. Every relationship has a function, okay, has a place in your life. There are things, that you can only tell your wife, things that you can only tell your husband, things that you can only tell your friend. And that doesn't mean lying. I'm just saying there's just things that, but a friend is what? What did God say? What is, no greater love is there, right, than to die for one's friends. Wow. Your husband is supposed to die for you, your wife's supposed to die for you, your friend is supposed to die for you. Remember we started with Genesis, right? Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I'm supposed to die for you. I'm supposed to die for you. And you're supposed to die for me. We die for each other. Okay, not just physical death. I'm saying, you say no to this because you don't want to hurt her. That's dying to self, isn't it? I'm not going to have this because it's going to harm her. I'm not going to do this because that's dying to self. So you are dying. That's a form of death. Okay? Now, He gives His own life. He gives His own life. What proof do you need? What other proof do you need? We didn't even earn this. Why can't He just, snap His fingers and we're saved? He's God. Why don't you just say, you know what? When He said, let there be light, light happened. Let there be fish in the sea and birds in the sky, it happened. Why can't He say, you're saved, and you're saved? Why not? He's God. No, He had to do this. Why? Ask that when you get to see Him. I don't know why. Pope Francis can tell you why. Christopher in his wisdom can't tell you why. Ed can't tell you why. Why? That would be a question that we can ask Him. And you know why? Why eternity is eternity? Because every instant in eternity, we are going to discover something of God. We're going to need eternity to discover just how much He loves us, just how powerful, just how great He is. That's why we have eternity. And yet it'll be bliss. It's eternal bliss. I can't even imagine it. All the pizza and ice cream in the world is not going to fulfill me. Okay? But He promises eternal happiness in heaven. Okay? If you're not in love, right now, already starting to fall in love with Him, there's something wrong with you. After all these meditations that we've been doing, there is something wrong. You need to go home tonight and think. Just think about the little things we talked about. Apply those to your life. Ask those questions. You know why? You're parents. You need to ask those questions right now. You're adults. Because not only for your own salvation, but your kids, your spouses, everyone around you, work. You're supposed to sanctify the spot you're in. You're supposed to bloom where you're planted. You're supposed to be the face of Christ wherever you are. God permitted you to be in that spot. You're supposed to be the face of Christ, the voice of Christ, the hands of Christ. St. Teresa of Avila. Who are His hands and feet and eyes and mouth now? You. Okay? But I can't do that. It's impossible. It's not impossible because what? He gave you the grace. Our topic tonight, grace. He equipped you already. But I can't talk like you, Aurora. But you can smile, right? You can say nice words. You can say kind words. No one is beyond kindness. Everyone can be kind in their own way. And I don't mean giving $100 to everyone you meet. No. Because that might be their destruction. That might lead them to sin. I'm saying be kind, be thoughtful, don't be rude. Like we have a saying at the church, the motto of St. Anne, right? We grew up at St. Anne with this motto. St. Anne's Father Doug, our first pastor here. Do whatever love requires. If you're at the checkout counter and then, the checkout lady is rude, have you stopped and then you start getting rude, at her and you go, you know what, you're getting paid for this job. Have you stopped and thought about how her day has been? Maybe she woke up, maybe she had an argument with her spouse, maybe she had a flat tire, maybe her mother has cancer, maybe. And another saying that we have on one of the doors, is it smile or be kind? Everyone is fighting a battle. You're fighting a battle, You're starting late, you're agitated, you're stressed out. That's why you go to work and then they're going to say hi to you and you go, hi. See? Someone is fighting a battle. So now you're going to start this practice. You're going to stop. What's the proverbial count to 10, right? Before you react, before you say anything, you think, maybe she is fighting something. There's always a battle being fought, no matter. You don't know. So you have to give the benefit of the doubt. Be the face of Christ, be the voice of Christ, be the hands, the feet of Christ, okay, to others. It's not impossible because you have the grace. You have a Father that loves you, who gave you everything. You know that He is all powerful, nothing's impossible for God. There you go. We covered all our topics. There's a lot for you to read. I have the handouts now. If you read one sheet of paper that I give you, one a day, and if I have, back to back, so 1 page a day, or maybe, 2 or 3 passages that are given to you from your Bible, then you will be on track and you will grow. I'm not the one promising this. Jesus promises this. You will be on track. You will be in love with him, you will grow in holiness, and we'll be in heaven together in our little cul-de-sac that I promised you. Okay? So help us, eat some more pizza if you want. And I don't think we need to do the tables and chairs right now, because usually we would pick up stuff. Okay, so do we have any special intentions that you thought of?